Welcome top news today.
This post has been updated with the latest. It's possible the government could shut down on Friday. There are a number of factors that are playing into a potential shutdown, but they all boil down to one underlying problem: Congress is struggling to compromise on pretty much anything. Congress has until Friday to pass a spending bill, and in the absence of a deal that funds the government for the rest of the year, it looks as though they'll scramble to pass a short-term one that keeps the lights on for another couple months. But even that could be difficult to do in time, thanks to the latest battles on immigration. The last time the government shut down was in 2013, when Republicans tried to force a spending bill to defund Obamacare, which was a non-starter for President Obama and Senate Democrats. 4 budget experts who spoke to the Fix said lawmakers will have to solve 4 intractable problems, and quickly, to avoid a shutdown. Here they are, in order of impact they are having on a potential shutdown. 1. The political fallout from Trump's shithole countries comment protesters who call for an immigration bill in the Capitol in December. Joshua Roberts Reuters: Republicans need Democratic votes, especially in the Senate, for any budget bill that keeps the lights on. Democrats were already debating leveraging those votes for a deal to protect some 700,000 young immigrants in the country illegally, known as Dreamers, from deportation. Then The Washington Post reported, and Sen. Richard J. Durbin confirmed, Trump called Haiti, El Salvador and African nations shithole countries during an immigration meeting at the White House last week. Now, demanding Dreamer protections alongside this spending bill became a must for a number of Democrats. The base was already frustrated that lawmakers missed a December spending deadline to extract Dreamer protections, and Trump just reminded the left exactly why they despite the president. That it means Democrats have little to no room to compromise. And that means a number of House Democrats may not vote for even a short-term spending bill unless it has Dreamer protections. If they need Democratic votes, the overall legislation needs to meet certain Democratic criteria and be reflective of the values of the Democratic caucus and what we believe are the values of the American people. Rep. Joseph Crowley, NY, the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus, told my colleagues, "It's not clear whether Senate Democrats will follow suit and block a spending bill over immigration." Durbin said he is trying to get a vote on a bipartisan Senate bill this week to show Republican leaders one can pass if it's attached to the spending legislation. 2. Trump demands his wall or other hardline immigration proposals to limit immigration. Trump is also in his heels after the shithole countries fallout, and he has resorted back to conservative talking points by suggesting protecting Dreamers is amnesty, and demanding Congress give him money for his border wall. Ironically, the immigration deal Trump rejected in Thursday's vulgarity-filled meeting had some of that. It included some $2 billion for border security, some of which could be used for a couple dozen miles of wall or fencing. It also proposed limiting how many people can come to the U.S. legally via a diversity visa lottery program from countries with low immigration, but Trump has given some seriously mixed signals on whether that's enough. Pushing for more may blow up whatever tenuous deal there was on Dreamers and a spending bill. An actual wall along a sizable chunk of the border is a non-starter for most congressional Democrats and many Republicans. And Democrats also aren't open to drastically changing legal immigration on a deal they say should focus almost exclusively on Dreamers. As non-partisan budget expert Stan Collender explained in Forbes, that makes funding for the wall the kind of emotional issue that greatly increases the chances of Trump vetoing any 2018 funding bill, including another short-term spending bill, and shutting the government if it doesn't provide what he wants. 3. Whether to raise spending limits. Trying to fund the government on a budget is hard. Trying to fund the government under a strict budget law that automatically cuts spending any time you break your budget is nearly impossible. That's why both sides say it's a priority to find a way to lift mandatory spending cuts put in place with 2011 budget deal. Republicans are focused on raising the limits for military spending to give Trump his requested increase of about $100 billion. Democrats are demanding a $4 raise on domestic spending, too, for things such as housing programs, Pell Grants, and food and job assistance. That could turn off some fiscally inclined Republicans, putting the whole spending bill in jeopardy, and cause a shutdown. On this budget, experts think both sides have an incentive to work out a deal. Republicans and Trump are fresh off a tax victory, and Democrats don't want to position themselves as obstructionists. Democrats and the president want to be open to a more bipartisan approach to governing. Maya McGuinness, president of the Bipartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, told The Fix earlier in January, and this will be the first attempt. 4. Defense hawks get sick of short-term spending bills and revolt. Sen. John McCain hands over the gavel to Rep. Mac Thornberry RTEX at the start of an Armed Services Conference Committee meeting in October. Drew Getty Images. A debate over budget caps is moot with a short-term spending bill, since it won't change spending limits from last year, it just extends them for a few more weeks. And lawmakers have been forced to pass 3 of these short-term spending bills since the new fiscal year began in October. That has a number of military-focused Republican lawmakers extremely frustrated. When the government funding hobbles along from week to week, the military can't budget what it needs to keep the country safe, they argue. Steve Bell, a former GOP budget aide now with the Bipartisan Policy Center, flagged that the dean of this group, House Armed Services Committee Chairman Mac Thornberry RTEX, would say Tuesday whether he'll vote for yet another short-term spending bill. "We'll see what the situation is," Thornberry told reporters, as reported by Politico Pro. If House Democrats revolt over Dreamers, and House Republicans revolt over frustration at the whole dang thing, that could leave GOP leaders without enough votes to pass even a short-term spending bill and lead to a shutdown. Brookings Institution congressional expert Molly Reynolds says she doesn't think Congress is quite there yet, but positions have hardened so quickly on the left and the right that we can't rule out a government shutdown for any of the reasons above. Right now, I don't see enough members willing to cast the votes necessary to precipitate a shutdown, but that could definitely change, she said.